On with my next passage. The voyage out. I lay still on my bunk bed with my eyes half open. Below me, UN Savory was getting dressed. There wasn't room in the cabin for two of us to change our clothes simultaneously, so we took it in turns to go first. It was his turn to dress first tonight. He had tied his bow tie and was now putting on his black dinner jacket. I was watching him rather dreamily through half-closed eyes, and I saw him reaching into his sponge bag and take out a small carton. He stationed himself in front of the wash bin mirror, took the lid off the carton, and dipped his fingers into it. The fingers came out with a pinch of white powder or crystals, and this stuff he proceeded to sprinkle very carefully over the shoulders of his dinner jacket. He then replaced the lid on the carton and put it back in the sponge bag. Okay, I have some questions about both characters, but first I'm going to talk about UN Savory. What in the world do I think that he's doing? So he's getting dressed, then he takes time to stop, go into a carton, pinch out some white powder, and then sprinkle it on his shoulder. Now, if I'm thinking about something that may fall on someone's shoulder on a black jacket that's noticeable, I'm thinking maybe this person has like dandruff. But he doesn't say that, the narrator doesn't say that UN Savory has dandruff. He says that he goes into this carton and makes it look like he has dandruff. So that's what I'm going to write here. UN Savory is putting white stuff on his shoulders. I'm just going to hold that in my memory for a while, because we're going to come back to this later in the book. Which sentence helps you really see what Dahl is describing? So you're just going to pick one of these sentences that really shows you instead of tells you. So which sentence gives you a very distinct description of what this other character is doing? So anything that you could picture. So like the sprinkle came out with a pinch of white powder or crystals, and this stuff he proceeded to sprinkle very carefully. So that tells me how someone's doing it on the jacket. I'm going to put that line there. How about the narrator who's telling the story? What's your first impression of him? So we have UN Savory who's doing some weird stuff, but then we also have our narrator who's sitting here watching UN Savory, who is his roommate, rather dreamily through his half-closed eyes. So I don't know, but that kind of gives me like a weird feeling about them. Why is he watching him? That's how questions I have. And dreamily, it's kind of weird. Okay, so go ahead and put whatever your first impression of him is in that box. Okay, we're going to move on here. So we're doing repetition here. We started out in the very first one saying, what is my impression of the character? What kind of descriptions am I given? Am I shown things or am I told them? And that's what we're going to continue doing throughout the rest of the lesson. So this last passage I'm going to let you do by yourself. You're going to answer the questions the same way you did before. Does it show or does it tell? So is it explaining the picture of something and you can visualize it and you can make your own determination about what's happening? Or does it very specifically tell you how to feel as the reader? And then the sentence that you choose, you're going to change it to the other way. So if you choose a sentence that describes something and helps you see the picture but also lets you decide on your own, that would be showing. And then you would rewrite it to tell. So you would tell your reader exactly how to feel. Should they be scared? Should they be happy? Should they be sad? Based on what you're telling them. And then if it tells instead of shows, right? If the sentence that you picked tells your reader how to feel or how the narrator feels about something, then you're going to rewrite the sentence to show. So you're going to change your sentence from telling people how to feel to showing them a picture of something and letting them decide themselves. And then how does that revision change the way the description feels, right? Does it feel scarier or happier? Does it feel like more to the point of something? Any of those would be a good answer there. Okay, and then the last one, please follow directions here. Write 5 sentences. When I say 5 sentences, I mean 5 sentences. If it's worth 15 points and the other questions are worth 10 or 5 points, you're going to lose points if you write 1 or 2 sentences. So in the passages we read today from the beginning of Going Solo, Dahl wrote about some of the ridiculous characters he met on board the ship. So we have Ewan Savory, and from our second passage, and then we have all the way up here, Mrs. Treffis. Okay, and then anything, Flight Lieutenant Paddle in this description here. Think of one recent moment when you saw someone acting ridiculous. So use his ideas that he formed. Like, have you observed someone like he observes, or the narrator tells you he observes? Have you noticed anybody doing something weird? And try to write your own passage about whatever that person was doing that was so weird, and explain it in great detail like he does. You know, his little sections are not very long, but he tells us exactly what the picture of someone is. This is a very short section of text, but we get a very clear picture of how weird this woman is. Okay?